Hello and welcome to our interview with Dr. Thomas Holtgraves, who's been a Ball State University faculty member since 1986, dedicating nearly 40 years to research, teaching, and mentorship. Dr. Holtgraves will be retiring in the spring of 2025, and we thought we'd sit down with him to get his perspective on his academic career, his mentoring experiences, and where he sees the field of psychology going in the future. With all that said, please enjoy our interview with Dr. Thomas Holtgraves.
So I'm Tom Holtgraves, professor of psychological science at Ball State University. I've got an unusual background. That's not too unusual. So I grew up on a farm in Kansas, a cattle farm. I'm the oldest of 8 kids, so I've got a lot of siblings. Which is fun, was fun, still is fun, because I get to visit them. Early career aspirations, I wanted to, this was in the 60s, I wanted to be a rock star like everyone else, so played in a garage band for a while. Did that. When I went to college, that changed, and I was pre-law. I was going to be an attorney. My dad has a law degree. But that switched. I got more interested in psychology and went down that road instead. Really, partly the times. This is. I started my undergraduate work in the fall of 1970, and that was a tumultuous time. But there was a lot of introspection, psychological phenomenon where just everyone was interested in it. So I mean, that's part of it, the culture. But then I took an intro psych course and loved the content, and then took a social course and really loved that content, and then decided to make the switch. So it was those sorts of experiences. So my undergraduate work was Marquette University, which was, and again, you got to consider the time. This was early 1970s, so very tumultuous. We had Kent State was the spring of '70. So this was the fall of '70. So we had bomb scares probably once a week. It happened a lot. But the thing about Marquette that I like, that's a Catholic school. It's a Jesuit school. Which at the time I rejected sort of, but now I appreciate more. It's the idea of service, the idea, and their scholarliness, the systematic nature of the way they would pursue scholarly stuff. So that was very helpful. Then I went to University of Nevada, Reno for graduate work. That was 1975. That was a doc program, so I didn't get a master's anywhere. So straight to the doc program. It was a interdisciplinary. It was a social psych program, social psychology program, but it was interdisciplinary. It was modeled after the program in Michigan. So interdisciplinary in the sense that it was both psychologists and sociologists that comprised that department. So I got a different. So I had, for example, courses on Marxist social thought in that program. So I got a heavy dose of the social, the social side, very different from people who got doctorates in social psychology, but the emphasis is exclusively on the psychological side. So it turned out to be a good program for me. In the end, it was very good. I was actually a slacker. I was not doing all that much. Part of it was the location. I really liked Reno. It's in the foothills of the Sierras. Like Tahoe's an hour away. Bay Area is a short drive, and then there's the casinos, and so that took up some time. So I started working as a 21 dealer. Did that for a number of years. And then played a lot, both poker and blackjack. And I justified that by saying I was going to study it, and sort of studied it a little bit, but not enough. So anyway, it took me a while to get my doctorate, 9 years actually. So it was I was out there for a long time, yeah. And because I was a slacker, I wasn't getting any jobs, so I was applying to many, many places and coming up empty. I forgot in Western Nevada, so I did teach a course at a community college, right? That was right after I graduated, so that was the spring of '84, and it was the first course I taught, on my own, and I loved it. So I knew, okay, yeah, I do like this, but I still wasn't getting a job. And I just lucked out in the fall of '84, so late summer, early fall, a postdoc came through at the University of Illinois. And they got their money late, so I wasn't competing against anybody. So that offer came in and I took it. So moved to Champaign-Urbana. This is the fall of '84. And that was, the reason I had a career as an academic was because of that postdoc. That's a huge department. It's typically a top 5 department in the country. It always has been. And just, 100 faculty, really, really smart people, something going on, talks going on every day. And I availed myself of that opportunity and was able to get quite a few research projects going, many that in one form or another I'm still pursuing now. So the postdoc, and then I also became an adjunct faculty member in that department as well, and was teaching a course in personality research methods, is I think what it was. And then after that, I came here. That was 1986, came to Ball State. It was crazy. So I got it at, so this would have been spring of '86. And I connected with Ball State at MPA. And at that time, they had an employment room. So people advertising jobs, people looking for jobs, you can post, and you meet. And so I did that and talked with Bernie Whitley, who was in the department. I guess he liked me enough. Then I got an invite to come to campus and visited, gave a talk, and went well, got an offer. And decided, I had another offer, we decided this one. So came here in the fall of '86. And research-wise, I was in pretty good shape because I had a lot of stuff going, that would transfer. But teaching was crazy, Well, brand new courses, right? And so one of the reasons, so when I was applying, they asked me, can you teach personality? And I had no personality courses as a graduate student, but I had one as an undergraduate, and it's sort of closely aligned with social, right? So I said, well, yeah, I can teach personality, absolutely. And then they go, graduate personality? And I go, yes. So, and I was totally, out of my depth there. So that summer, I spent a lot of time reading personality, the classic texts, Hall and Lindsay, Maddie, and at the time, the theories of personality were the thing, so Freud, Jung, Harry Stack Sullivan. So I developed an appreciation for personality. That became one of the things that I taught consistently throughout my career. So that was the beginning, and it was iffy because it was contract, and so from year to year you don't know if you're gonna be back. And so periodically I would try to look for other jobs. It wasn't getting much. Luckily, the fourth year they did have an opening here, tenure track, and I applied for it and got it. Been here ever since.
That was the
and then we've got a new faculty member. This would have been '78. Deborah Davis, who graduated from Ohio State, social psych program there, did a postdoc and had done a postdoc there. She came, and so she was a young, very psychological social psychologist, and so we started doing stuff together. Her thing was responsiveness in dyadic interaction, and then we moved it. She hadn't done anything in this realm, but she suggested to me that you should pursue responsiveness linguistically, and so okay, so I checked it out, and that's when I started getting a lot of philosophy. So I was reading John Searle and speech act theory. I was reading Paul Grice. I was reading relevance theory, and all these things about really mentally, what goes on when we are communicating with language. And so that was really and that's what I ended up doing my dissertation on, and that's what that's been my main area since then. So, it's hard to remember exactly how things played out. Part of it is driven by students. I was lucky. My second or third graduate student was from Korea, and he, super bright kid. I think he got 800 on his math GREs, but he was also a translator. In fact, he was a translator for the Olympics in '88. Were in Seoul, Korea. He worked in that capacity. Anyway, and so we got to talking, and I was interested in culture and cultural variability, in the impact of certain social variables on how we say things. And so he had contacts in Korea. He could translate everything, and so we did a couple, really large studies, and they were both published in JPSP, which is, many people regard as the #1 journal in social in the early '90s. And it was just luck that he happened to be, a student here. So, you just sort of have to take advantage of things that happen like that. Oh, it's. I mean, that's one of the main attractions of the job, right? It is to mentor and to teach. Students are the future, and so it's very generative, and it's been, one of the main attractions. I mean, I've loved it. I still love it.
So.
Well, I'm leaving at an opportune time. Things are kind of crumbling. I'm out the door. But I say that facetiously, but only partly. It's just a fascinating topic, right? communication. To this day, I'm fascinated by it, and we're doing, we do the AI stuff, right? Because the world is constantly changing, right? And I've been involved, studying AI in one way or another for 25 years. Of course, it's totally different now, but it's just a never-ending puzzle, right? That just kind of keeps you interested, and the big issues that I still like to ponder, free will versus determinism. Those are things that I've sort of made my peace with my view on that, but it's just intrinsically interesting, and it will always be that way. It's changed in a lot of ways. It's really now big science is the thing. Big groups, and I think somebody's probably done. I'm sure I've seen studies on this. Multi-author papers are far more common now. That sort of thing. Big collaborative, and more interdisciplinary, which is a good thing, I think. So that's a big change. I was always just kind of a putterer. I did collaborate. I've collaborated with students, obviously, but I also have other collaborators. But it's really kind of me puttering. But that's a change. The replication crisis has been a big thing. The emphasis now on transparency. That's for the good, obviously, although it can be overdone. And so I do have some issues with some of the recommendations. Neuroscience has become, obviously, when I started, so when I taught personality in 1986, I don't think I covered genetics. I don't think I covered any neuro stuff. But the last time I taught it, which would have been last year, tons of stuff on. That's behavioral genetics, the neural underpinnings of personality traits. So that's been a big change. Yeah. I think psychology is going to be fine. Psychology is, somebody used this term, I think the job candidate yesterday, it's a hub discipline. And so it maps onto so many different things. And psychology is going to be fine. Social psychology maybe a little less so because of its emphasis on diversity, and politically those things are now very charged, and they're going to take a hit. But I think the field itself, the field of psychology overall, I think is going to be, it will be fine, and I look forward to keeping up with it. Yeah, I get another line of work. Just kidding. No, find an area that you really are intrinsically are interested in. I mean, to me, that is more important than it. Don't go with the fads. Oh, everybody's studying this now, so I'm going to study that. Find stuff that is really intrinsically interesting to you, and try to get other people interested in it, and pursue that. What we try to do as academics is dispel ignorance, and that's I thought that was important when I started. I think it's probably more important now. There's a lot of ignorance out there. There's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and so on, and so an academic career pursuit of academic work is really important in that regard. So I don't know if that's a takeaway or not. That's just sort of how I feel about it. Yeah, so I will. I'm retiring from teaching and committee work. I will continue to write. I've got and I've got collaborators. I'm collaborating with somebody in Belgium. I'm collaborating with somebody in Turkey. I've got data stockpiled for the last several years. I don't know if I'll do anything with it or not. So I'll continue to do that sort of thing. I'll continue to. I'm contemplating writing a book more oriented to a lay audience rather than a scholarly book. But we'll see. I'm see what happens. I'm not sure. I will play more poker. Yeah. I will play. I'm a musician. I like to play music. I'll do more of that. I'm a hiker. I'll do more of that. I like to travel. I'll do more of that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next step.
Yeah. And so